Netflix just dropped the first official clip from Squid Game Season 3, and it's a game changer. The 1-minute scene gives us a haunting glimpse into how the new season begins, and the emotional intensity is already off the charts. Today, we'll break down every second of this scene, moment by moment, to uncover the hidden meanings, psychological cues, and power dynamics that will define the season. Let's dive deep into the pain, the silence, and the chaos of a game that's more brutal than ever before. We begin with Gi-Hun, bloodshot eyes, clenched fists, and shattered spirit lying in the dormitory, the very same room where countless players have begged for mercy or fought for their lives. But Gi-Hun isn't pleading. He's raging, screaming, demanding that they kill him. After the failed rebellion that cost the lives of his closest allies, including his dear friend Geum-Ja, Gi-Hun is no longer the hopeful underdog we once knew. He's broken. The pain of survival is heavier than death, and that's what makes this moment terrifying, because Gi-Hun isn't afraid anymore. He wants to die. If you've watched the earlier Season 3 teaser, you'll remember the scene of Gi-Hun unconscious inside a black coffin. The new clip picks up moments after that. Gi-Hun awakens inside the dorm, disoriented but alive. When he realizes what's happening, he lashes out. In a desperate outburst, he grabs a guard's gun and forces it against himself. And then, we hear it click. He pulls the trigger. The gun doesn't fire. That single sound is like a lightning bolt through the soul. The gun didn't go off, not because Gi-Hun lacked the resolve, but because the guards made sure it wouldn't. Whether it had no bullets or the safety was on, one thing is clear, they never intended to let him die. The frontman wants him alive, not out of mercy, but because he still needs him. The guards swarm in, wrestle the gun away, and pin Gi-Hun to the ground as he screams in anguish. We see tears, real, human, unfiltered. This is not a dramatic performance. This is a man unraveling in real time. He's lost everything, and yet he remains alive against his will. The emotional realism of this moment is bone-chilling. Gi-Hun isn't trying to escape the game. He's trying to escape his own existence. And now, something in Gi-Hun will be shown handcuffed to his bunk. At first, fans speculated this was to stop him from organizing another rebellion, but now, it seems more likely they're restraining him to protect him from himself. The frontman doesn't want Gi-Hun dead. He wants him to play, but Gi-Hun has nothing left to fight for. That's the tragedy, and also the ticking time bomb of the season. As Gi-Hun screams and struggles, his fellow players watch in silence. Every reaction speaks volumes without saying a word. Player 120 opens her mouth, ready to speak, but stops herself. She closes it again. Her eyes speak louder than any dialogue ever could. Fear, empathy, confusion. She too lost friends in the rebellion, and like Gi-Hun, she was spared while others died. Survivor's guilt binds them together in silence. In the corner, player listens. His head turned away, eyes shut tight. He can't bear to watch. Shame is written all over his body language. He's haunted by the knowledge that he couldn't protect the one person who showed him kindness. This guilt will follow him. It might even drive his actions later in the game. And then there's player 100's crew, the cold, calculating players who always voted to continue the game. They watch Gi-Hun break down with smirks. For them, the failed rebellion was a blessing. It wiped out a massive number of players who opposed the game, increasing the prize pool and reducing the chance of future votes to end it. Their silence isn't compassion, it's strategy. They're safe for now, but we know karma in Squid Game is always waiting, and when it hits hard. Far away in the dim lighting of a surveillance room, the frontman watches it all, silent, still, haunted. He sits with a glass of whiskey, but this isn't the confident frontman we remember. This isn't the composed villain who once observed the games like a god watching ants. He looks unkempt, hollow. His eyes glisten with something we haven't seen before. Guilt. He doesn't sip his drink, he gulps it, and that changes everything. Compare this to an earlier moment in Season 2 where the frontman calmly swirls his whiskey, savoring its aroma as he watches the first game unfold. Back then, he was in control. He believed in the system. He was the architect of suffering, comfortable in his power. But now, he's watching a man he once respected, maybe even liked, completely fall apart. He thought breaking Gi-Hun would bring satisfaction. Instead, it brings emptiness. Did the frontman care about Gi-Hun? It sounds almost impossible, doesn't it? That the cold, calculated frontman, the architect of unspeakable cruelty, might have cared about Gi-Hun. But the deeper you look, the more the cracks start to show. Maybe he didn't outright like Gi-Hun. Maybe he didn't want to protect him. But something about Gi-Hun got to him, in a way no other player ever did. Think about it. Gi-Hun didn't just survive the games, he remained human in a place where humanity is designed to be stripped away. He formed bonds. He risked his life to help others. He mourned every loss. Where others saw numbers, Gi-Hun saw people. names, faces, friends, and that kind of spirit, it's contagious. It lingers. Maybe to the frontman, Gi-Hun started as just another player, a piece on the board, but as the games unfolded, something shifted. Gi-Hun's refusal to lose his morality became a mirror, and the frontman, once a brother, a detective, a musician, was forced to see what he'd become. Gi-Hun reminded him of who he used to be. That spark of humanity planted a seed of doubt. What if the games weren't exposing the truth of human nature, but corrupting it? What if Gi-Hun, despite all odds, was the proof that goodness could survive? And that's the real danger, because once you start questioning the system, it's only a matter of time before the whole structure collapses. So maybe the frontman didn't just keep Gi-Hun alive out of strategy. Maybe a small part of him hoped Gi-Hun would win again, not the prize money, but the war of ideals. If that's true, then the frontman isn't just watching Gi-Hun, he's watching his own last chance at redemption. And that internal battle, it might be even deadlier than the games themselves. In one of the most chilling moments from the newly released clip, the frontman utters just 3 words: kill them all. But who exactly is them? At first glance, you might assume he's talking about the players. After all, Gi-Hun is causing chaos, the rebellion has just failed, and emotions are running high. But that theory quickly falls apart. No new round has begun. The players are disoriented, emotionally shattered, and still licking their wounds from the failed uprising. The games can't resume if everyone's dead. So if not the players, then who? The answer might lie outside the game. We already know there's someone approaching the island, a police officer, possibly the frontman's own brother, leading a group of armed intruders. If that's true, then them refers not to the players, but to the outsiders threatening to expose everything. And this is where it gets truly terrifying. Is the frontman ready to kill his own brother to protect the games? If so, this command could mark the end of any lingering humanity within him. No more doubt, no more inner conflict, just cold, ruthless loyalty to the system. With one order, he would cross the line into full-blown villainy. No longer a man torn by guilt, but a tyrant willing to sacrifice blood to maintain control. But what if that's not what's happening? What if this is his final test? What if those words are said with hesitation, meant to trigger a turning point rather than an execution? Could this moment be the start of his rebellion against the game? It's a crossroads, one order, 2 possible futures, and whether he's about to kill or protect, this is the moment that could define the frontman forever. The emotional depth of this first clip sets the tone for Season 3. Gi-Hun is at rock bottom. The frontman is conflicted. The dorm is filled with survivors who are physically present but emotionally absent. This is no longer just a survival game. It's a war of identities, a fight between despair and hope, between control and rebellion. Gi-Hun has to find the strength to rise again, not just for himself, but for everyone trapped in this nightmare. And the frontman? He has to choose. Continue the cycle of bloodshed or finally break it. One thing's for sure, Squid Game Season 3 isn't just back. It's more psychological, more emotional, and more dangerous than ever before. Has the frontman really changed? Can Gi-Hun survive not just the games, but his own inner demons? Will the rebellion continue from within? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments.